Bam! Hey, how are you guys doing? Uh, what's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of having the Fighting Pride of Oklahoma. He is the Treacherous One, Travis Nero. Travis, how you doing, dude?
Man, I'm doing great. A little tired from training earlier this morning, but I'm doing great.
Well, I mean, especially under those circumstances, we definitely love. Thank you for being here. I mean, what was it today? Because I mean, here in California, it's still kind of we're kind of in lockdown. Like people are training like outside of their gyms or whatever. So, what is the status of everything where you're at?
Everything is really discreet, man. It's really low numbers of squads getting together. It's mostly fighters, but a lot of people that really need to stay in shape, they get in with the groups of guys, and we get to the gyms and we train. There's a lot of gyms that are open here in Oklahoma.
That's brilliant. That's I mean, and of course, safety first, right? That first and
Of course.
foremost, but we've seen in this kind of last run of like fights that are happening in the UFC at the Apex Center and Golden Boy boxing and what have you. There are some fighters that have cardio issues just due to the fact that unfortunately, the place that they train to get like formal training and to get their work in are kind of getting closed down. So it's kind of almost like a cannibalistic deal because there's been more call ups to the big shows than there ever has before. Anybody in any combat sport that was waiting for the call, whether it be, boxing, whether it be MMA or whatever, that were waiting for the call from the big show to come, it's here. The time is here. The time is now, right? And
Exactly.
it's kind of a weird one because your favorite fighter or one of your teammates or whoever, right? We get the call, and essentially what happens is cardio becomes an issue because for the most part, you're not. Most people haven't been able to train in 3 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. No doubt. But when it comes to fighting, man, it's still a personal obligation to get out there and do the work. And I think this pandemic has actually helped people like me, because I'm used to running out in the street. I'm not used to a 5-star caliber facility, where they got the weights and the pads and the bags, to train. So you got to run to gym and different gyms and get into work where you need to get in. And there's test sites out there here in Oklahoma. So if you feel sick, you really should get tested. And you shouldn't be scared. You should do everybody a favor and get tested. But that's how it is
Yeah.
in Oklahoma.
So, I mean, whereabouts are you? Are you like southern or northern or central Oklahoma?
I'm in eastern Oklahoma City. They call it Midwest cities. Tinker is really known for where I'm at. I'm like right by Tinker, so east side, man, for sure.
Now, you were talking about, the fact that you're one who doesn't need all of like the bells and whistles in terms of training camp and what have you, right? So, I mean, in this time of quarantine, especially in the months where it was very stringent, from like March to May or even July, um, like what were you doing to kind of keep yourself in shape? Because I know a lot of us might have gained a pound or 10 pounds in my case, uh, during this quarantine. So, I mean, what were the things that you were doing at home? Because I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of people that are at home right now looking for kind of a canary in the coal mine, so to speak, and trying to find out workouts to do at home with minimal weights and whatever. So, what was things that you were doing?
Well, the interesting thing is like, I'm really into all the politics and all that. Shout out to Black Lives Matter. Hope that offends everybody. That's offensive. But anyway, I had a fight in Florida, and I was, a little skeptical, because me and my fiance we're trying to have a baby, and she actually is. She's 4 months pregnant, 4.5 months pregnant now. But I had a fight with Evander Holyfield's son, Evan, and in Florida, in Daytona Beach. And so I was already in shape, and I just continued to stay in shape. I learned a lot from that fight, and I wanted to get back into MMA because that's my passion. I only had one pro MMA fight, and I need a lot. I'm hungry. I'm 33 years old. I'm aging. I've been doing this for 6 years, And anyway, I just want to get back out there. So I do what I'm always done. I've always trained at home. I've always worked on my technique at home. I've always put in the footwork at home. That's what I do, man. That's what we do around here. And yeah, I'm proud of it, and why change anything? And when the gyms open up, I'll be glad to be in there 24 hours a day, like I'm supposed to. But, like I said, it's high risk. My girl's pregnant. I got to do what I got to do. But a coach reached out to me here recently, and I was able to go to his gym. He invited me out, and he knows I want to fight. So he's trying to get something together with the commissioners here in Oklahoma, the state, and get some things going, So there's fights here. There is fights here, and there's real promoters here, and there's real paychecks. So anybody that's watching and listening, hey, come holler at your boy.
There it is. There it is. And that's what this is all about, is the connecting of our community, And Jesse Velasquez, who's a former IFS champion out here in California, he says it's crazy to hear some fighters have completely stopped training during quarantine. I know your gym is closed, but you still got to keep up. And I couldn't agree with him more, and it's kind of weird, right? There it is, right? But here in Pasadena, California, Fight Academy, where Jesse trains, where I formerly trained under Savant Young, they were doing stuff in a public park, socially distanced and whatever, and the police came. They were just shadowboxing in the park, and the police department. And this is a black-owned, family business. Over the course that it was built up, through volition and everything over the course of a decade plus, and see, and they're not getting the loans that like even Target got a loan, right? Like a bunch of corporate whatever got small business loans. Even this kind of embargo and weird stuff with China based companies, they got loans, small business loans, where American ones didn't, and gyms didn't. You heard of like Chad George's CMMA. There's a litany of other gyms here in Southern California that kind of, they were kind of like got the slap of the hand, slap of the wrist, but all they were trying to do is like help people kind of better themselves.
Yeah, man. And I would suggest, here in Oklahoma, the regulations are like not as strict as a lot of other states. So we're pretty much open, but like you said, a lot of these businesses and gyms, they're not getting the loans that they need. And so for fighters like us, we're egging on a fight, we're hungry to fight, and we see, UFC's going on, and we got promoters here fighting at farmers markets here and stuff like that. So, we're trying to get on social media, and I just got back on because I took a 2-month break from social media because, Black Lives Matter really got crazy, and it was really messing with the mental. So I took a couple months, to myself, which was necessary. And but I came back because, I'm a true fighter, bro, and I love this stuff. And I want to connect so we can get real fighters to come here to Oklahoma where we actually help fights. Forget the Fight Island. Come to Oklahoma where you can fight, man. And I'll fight at 145, 155, 160, whatever. We want you guys to come here and train and help these gyms so they can stay open, so they don't shut down. Because a lot of businesses have closed and shut down here, and it's sad. But yeah, man, they fights.
No, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of a weird, it's weird for everyone, right? World over. But I was actually just talking to my friend in Taiwan, right? She lives here. She formerly competed in the WWE, and essentially she was basically saying, like Taiwan has been back to normal just like for the last 2 months because they were able to kind of their eradicate their not eradicate but isolate the people that had it, and a lot of people actually were coming from the UK and the US to Taiwan to kind of bring it there, right? And there was only like 200 confirmed cases, 214 confirmed cases, and then and only 2 deaths, right? And they
Oh
nipped that
wow.
in the bud, like yeah, nipped that in the bud, and they were back to normal by May. But everybody shut down. There was like no essential work or whatever. So, you know, there there's obviously this kind of time has tested the metal and leadership in everything, whether it be your job, whether it be like politics, whatever. It's tested everybody to their wits end. Even people that and are in your community, and it's just like you're seeing sides of them that you didn't see before. Some of it good, some of it bad, whatever. But it's just like that. But here's the absolute truth: we are a community. Doesn't matter, right? This is the one place, right, in combat sports where when you step on the mat, whether that be the canvas of the boxing ring or the mats in jiu-jitsu or
Yep.
judo or any type of grappling art, you've got people
Yep.
that are Christian, atheist, Muslim, gay, straight, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, whatever, and nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives a flying fuck
Great.
because
That's
guess what?
crazy.
You're my brother, you're my sister. That's it. Let's learn some shit. We're gonna sweat. We're gonna cry. We're gonna bleed together. But we're
Yep.
doing it together, and that's it. And that's one of the things that I wish, And it's no stranger to me that combat sports is like the first sports to kind of be back. First with like the UFC regional fights in Florida and what have you. That
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, duh. That combat sports is the first one because we really work together, regardless of where you're at, whatever, for the betterment of each other. A competition is testing what you've done, right? And testing it against others. You could be awesome in an Instagram video and whatever with 100 hit combo a la Street Fighter, but if it doesn't translate to the fight or your
Mhm.
sparring partner, then what the hell is it all for?
Yep. Yep. And sometimes love is a crazy thing, man. You know, and when you really love something, man, until it really breaks you down, you're not going to give up on it. And a lot of people don't believe in quitting. And that's distilled in them. And a lot of people still believe that it's better. They can grow. They can you know improve themselves. You know what I'm saying? And so in that aspect, I don't see why stop. Why stop? That's like you want me. If a bear's attacking, you want to just lay there and let the bear kill you, or you're going to fight for your life to survive. I'm a fighter, point blank. I don't have to be the greatest fighter, but I'm going to show everybody that I'm willing to fight for what I believe in. And if I feel like it's there to provide, then I'm going to do that to provide, you know, because I'm a father, and I got other means of making money. And a lot of people do. And so I just do what I love, because let's be honest, man. A lot of people don't get their daydream jobs, man. So when you're working and you're being told what to do 24/7 in a day, especially when you work 12-hour shifts, and then you get a break for a chance to do what you love, man, you escape from all the realities, man, all the BS, all the dealing with the police brutality, because that's what's real because of my skin color, you know, all the poverty because, you're getting tickets and stuff, and now you got to come up with more money to pay for them tickets that you're getting so you don't get thrown in jail, because that's what's really out there, And when you look like me, muscled up, and you got tattoos and you kind of look like a gangster, straight up, let's just be real. So there's a lot of real stuff out there that people fight for, and that's what I fight for. I fight because I love it, and because I got a lot of regression, and there's a lot of pain out here, and this is the best way to deal with it. It's better than going to a bank. You know what I'm saying? I promise you that, and I'm learning. I can educate my kids on how to defend themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I love it so much. I'm getting a little emotional speaking about it, but you know, anybody out there that's fighting, man, they feel down on themselves, man, they should really come talk to people like me, you know, with a losing record that keeps fighting and keeps going after the top dogs, because that's how I'm training, man. You know, there's not too many guys that are really athletic and fast, you know what I'm saying, that I can spar with unless they're from another state. And then they're top and supreme. And, you know, if you're not getting that kind of training, man, you're right, man. You look like a fool on TV in front of everybody out there.
No, 100%, 100%. Which Jesse, he's like, you know, speaking of, you know, coming out to see fighters like you, he's like, you guys got fights out there in Oklahoma, time to move. You know, and he's like, you know, martial arts is a barrier breaker for sure, you know. But yes, like you said, you got to fight for, you know, what you love. You know, done interviews. I can speak for myself. You know, done interviews. Grew up in Inglewood, which most people, when you say Inglewood, they're like always up to no good. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Don't say we're all bad. You know, because that kind of like, you know, mental kind of characterization. That was a big word for my Inglewood High School education, but I digress. But it's fighting for what you believe in, right? And I kind of took this time. I'm like, people at home right now, right? And whether it be fighters, actors, whatever. I'm like, let me just see how people are doing. You know, I'm like, hey, come on the podcast. Let's speak out, because this is a way for us to kind of, you know, sidestep all the bullshit that is going on, you know, whether it be politics or news or social media, whatever, and realizing that we're not all too different at all, right? You know, right. I've had everybody from every side of the spectrum on this show, and that's one thing that I'm proud of over the last month, because again, we're all figuring each other out and figuring that it's not as scary. You're a father, I'm a father. You're about to bring a you know, a child into the world again. Congratulations to you and yours for that. Absolutely, my man. But by doing stuff like this, we're showing that, hey, it's not as crazy as everything seems to be. We're gonna figure it out. It's just, are we gonna figure it out together, or are we gonna figure it out apart? You know?
Exactly.
So I want to touch on, because I don't want to gloss over it, but your fight with Evander Holyfield's son. That's give me the deets, brother. Because like, where did it happen? Because I mean, LFA, we were kind of talking off air, you know, with Jamal Emmers and Vince Cachero fighting in the UFC. I saw them and interviewed them after they won in LFA in February. That seems like forever ago. February seems like 8 years ago. So when did your fight happen?
I can't remember the exact date. I think it was the 8th of February, or like the 9th or the 7th, somewhere around there. It happened in Daytona, Florida, you know, at the Holiday Cafe. It was super nice, man. Super nice. I got in with good people, a good promoter that, you know, he knew I was professional. He knew I would make my weight. He knew I would show up. He knew I wouldn't back down, you know, and that's the reality of it, you know, and they needed a step up fight, you know what I'm saying? That's the reality of it. I'm not a boxer by no means. So anybody out there that wants to proclaim me as like you know, one of the best, I'm not a boxer. I'm a cage fighter first and foremost, or jiu-jitsu guy, because I can grapple. I got a ground game. But anyway, I'm a Muay Thai fighter, and this was a boxing. So I know the ones and twos and the combinations. You know, I've been doing it for years. So I thought, why not? You know, I could make the weight. You know, it's money. You know, and you know, I'm watching the news, like I said. So it was a smart go for me. You know, and it was like early in his career. You know, I was well seasoned in Oklahoma as professional boxing, and I thought I had a shot. You know, I really did. I thought I could get inside, and I'm really strong because I was a power lifter in high school. You know, and I thought I could really clock him out, but he was way faster than I thought he was. And that's the reality of it.
Wow. So I mean, that's an incredible kind of stage to kind of test your mettle. And traveling out of state to Florida. And um, you know, literally anybody that doesn't want to say that Evander Holyfield isn't a legend in combat sports, you're fucking out of your mind. I'll tell you right there. And then you're facing his son, right? Obviously, Evander Holyfield kind of, you know obviously there was some financial stuff or whatever, but theoretically speaking, this guy had, yeah, this guy had essentially the, you know, in his father. Even if you strip away all the other, bullshit or whatever, his father was one of the greatest heavyweight champions, not just heavyweight champion, but I mean, an Olympic gold medalist in like a lower weight division and what have you. And you're stepping in against his son, right? And it's like everybody obviously has a puncher's chance, right? Everybody in any combat sport, right? And so um, you weren't at all kind of I don't want to say scared, but there wasn't a doubt in your mind that you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna take it.
No, I just found out recently that where my weakness is in my game, and it's my legs. You know, like I said, I was a power lifter, so I always thought I had strong legs, and I was running on the daily, but I was scared to do the squats and the strong deadlifts and stuff because I was afraid to put on the extra weight because I walk around 175, naturally. And so I had to get down to I think it was 157, I believe, for the fight, 155. And it was kind of a short notice. I had 2 months, but when you train every day, you're ready to go, That's how it is. I would do it for anybody. If the UFC called me for a contender, spot, let's go. This is a chance of a lifetime. I'm ready to gear it and get to it, because hey, why not?
Yeah, why not, right? Because I mean, the time is now, right? That's kind of the ethos of the time.
I'm not getting any younger. That's for sure. I'm 33. I'm not getting any younger. I've been doing this, and I love it,
Damn right. Now, Jesse Velasquez has a great question. Is it harder to get ready for a boxing fight or an MMA fight, in your opinion? And congrats on the kid.
Yeah, great question, Jesse. It's a tough one, man. You can get hit a lot harder in MMA. I mean, the gloves, the weight of the gloves is the difference to me. And when you got a guy who, most of the guys that box have been boxing since they were 6 years old or 7 or 9. You know what I'm saying? So they are legit boxers, And the guys that have not knocked me out, the guy that I knocked out or the guy that I went to distance with, they weren't young boxers. They weren't junior Olympic boxers, So there's the difference, and that's the reality of it, man. You got to have the legs, and you got to be able to take a punch. You got to have a chin, and you got to train the same, man. You got to put in the miles. I would say boxing is a little bit harder to train for. Like knowing what I know today about boxing after fighting Evander Holyfield's son, Evan, I would say boxing is a lot harder to train for. But MMA, you got to do a lot of stuff, and if you've been doing it a while, it's just changing it up, changing your routine, to not let your body get used to it. If you stick with the same routine, your body's gonna get used to it, and you're not gonna better yourself, man. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Jesse in his own right is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu and a former IFS, I believe it's kickboxing or Thai boxing champion out here in California. And that's the thing, most people will think, oh, well, you box with gloves, you spar MMA with gloves, you spar Muay Thai with gloves and what have you, that it's they think it's all the same, but it isn't, right? I went to
Mhm.
after watching like Muay Thai on TV, I went to Lion Fight when they were out here in California at the LA Coliseum, and my God, like I can't tell you how hard those kicks were, those
Yeah,
punches, because they can really commit to a kick, right?
right,
It
right,
sounded like two baseball bats cracking together, and I was right ringside. It was unnerving, right? Because
right.
the thing about it is like, because they don't have to worry about takedowns, or the takedowns are very minimal, it's a leg trip here or whatever, they can go all in. They can go 100, same thing as boxing. You can kind of commit to a punch if you're a power puncher, or you could be a volume striker, right? And just kind of pat, 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 right?
Right.
So it's different degrees of the same thing, right?
I would say no. I would say no, man, because when you're boxing, you're not focusing on your legs at all whatsoever. So when you're working on your leg game, you're taking away a lot of percentage from your arms. So I guarantee a lot of MMA fighters don't have the arm strength or the arm stamina to box a legit, distant professional boxer. Now, if this was amateur boxing, we're talking a different game here. I would say an amateur MMA fighter would tear up an amateur boxer, and that's just real. But professionally, it's a different ball game, way different ball game.
No, 100%. And I'm sorry, Jesse, you're a IFS is MMA, right? MMA in a ring. My apologies. And you're a purple belt rather than brown. Well, you're going to be a brown belt soon. So how about that? I'm right. I'm right. Uh, and yeah, in terms of those striking contests, you can hear the hits live. It's wild. And it's different muscles for grappling versus striking for sure. So yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, they're kind of the same thing, but they're really different. I when I started training in jiu-jitsu, I thought that's what you had to have in like MMA, right? You
Right,
absolutely had to have jujitsu and whatever.
right,
Then
right.
like I think 3 months into it, Pat Barry starts knocking people out, having no grappling game in the UFC, and I'm all like, wait, he's just like kickboxer, like in the UFC, like and I was just like, damn, like there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. You could just do everything or nothing at all and just be there.
And since I've been doing this. I'm not disciplined, and that's why I'm still a white belt, Jesse. I've been doing it 6 years. My coach is not going to just hand me a belt. You know what I'm saying? No matter who I'm grappling with, what degree of belt I'm grappling with, who I'm teaching a move, the numbers of hours I'm putting in. It's all about dedication, being there every single day, putting in the hours every single day. Paying back every single day, man. And when you have a family, dude, and you're doing this late, it's kind of hard to do this every single day. And that's the reality. And when you got real Muay Thai and real BJJ guys, they're not just going to give it to you. But I train, man. I put in the work. I travel across, train to other gyms, when I have to, And that's the real. I don't have any sponsorships. So all this money's coming out of my pocket, and that's this sport is not cheap. Got to pay for the gear. Got to pay.
No, 100%. And Bellator just had a card last night, right? And
No,
they
almost on
announced
that.
that
Hey,
Bro-
since you brought that up, my buddy from Extreme Fighting Nation, Demario Dennis, won that fight. It was a split decision. They called it off. They said the blue corner won, but they messed up and said no, it was the guy in the red corners. But shout out to my boy Dennis, man. Y'all probably know the Dennis brothers from LFA. I've trained with them. They're my mentors. They teach me a lot of stuff that I know, and shout out to them. I just want to say
yeah,
that.
shout out to Dennis, man. That's super dope. Um, Now, obviously, when you're talking about sponsorships, uh, Corey Anderson, top five in his division in the UFC, right? And he signs a multi-fight deal with Bellator, right? And you
Right.
saw in the instances of like Rory McDonald or Benson Henderson, who also fought last night, former UFC champion. They're fighters that are moving not into the UFC. They're establishing their names in the UFC, obviously, because that's how the UFC is in on ESPN. They have their own streaming service that has other fight promotions, not just MMA, but everything under the sun. They've got video game contracts with EA Sports, the maker of Madden, for goodness sakes, right? They're on the same level as Madden. So it's looking like UFC is essentially the place where you build your name and your brand and whatever, because that has the most eyes, because obviously UFC existed before the euphemism of MMA existed. So
Great.
when people like MMA is the sport, but UFC is the premier brand, but when the brand basically ushered in the actual sport, it's different, right? So everybody's like, oh, do you train UFC, bro? Whatever, right? But the guys that have names, right? The Benson
Yeah.
Hendersons, Matt Mitriones, Frank Mears, the Corey Andersons, Rory McDonald's, and what have you. They're Chris Cyborg, right? The most decorated female MMA competitor in history, right?
Right.
It's you make your name in the UFC and you go to Bellator because you could retain all of your sponsorships. Brendan Schaub, he was talking about on his podcast, that he would have like 10, 20, 30, even more, like $100,000 checks just sitting in his car,
Right.
uncashed, because those are sponsorship money. And unfortunately, with the Reebok deal, and now it's going to be Venom in the UFC, you don't get any of that money, right? And there's a structured pay in terms of instead of Dana White just doling out $50 to $100,000 like he used to do during the Zuffa period. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I only had 6 fights in all of the all of the promotions, whether it be Strikeforce, Pride, UFC, whatever, everything that the UFC owns, you might get $50,000, right? But if you're lower
Right.
on the
Yeah.
on that match card, you're not getting that.
No. Nope. And then it's a risk a lot of people are trying really to try, And just like me, I'm still waiting for my LFA shot, or my Bellator shot, And I train with a lot of guys that's been on the shows, and but there's no rush right now. I think I look good enough to last till I'm 43 years old, and with the dedication and heart I have. So I'll just wait for my shot. And so then, I'm fighting at the farmer's market. I'm fighting at, the smokers fight, which is at some gym here in Oklahoma. And it's on August 22nd here in Oklahoma City, Northwest 50th. So it's over there by the Integris Hospital in Oklahoma City. It's not going to be on TV or anything, but, guys got to stay in shape, And so there's going to be a lot of sparring wars there. And, yeah, I'm hoping to get in and get some work in there myself. So we'll see.
Dude, let's work something out, because I know people are definitely going to watch that fight. I might even we'll talk off air, because I've got a way that I think we can do it, and I mean definitely talk to the promoters or whatever. But I think there's a way that we can stream this for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Really dope, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we've covered a lot of ground, right? But I want to know what a young Travis Nero, first starting in the game of combat sports, like how did that come up? Was there a fighter that you were influenced by, something like that? And Jesse's like, yep, belts are all about covering your ass. It's all about mat time and skill and respect, absolutely. And we got to start somewhere, much like you in your journey. So, with that being said, where did the journey of the Treacherous One start?
Man, it started at the birth of my daughter, man. Really. But before then, I did get my shot. I'm 5'9". I did get my shot after high school. I thought I was gonna go to Baylor, play safety, but I did get my shot, so I was a little upset, and I had a rough time. I was getting in a lot of trouble, and it wasn't like gang affiliated trouble or anything like that. It was just being at the wrong place, wrong time. and I needed help, so I went to a gym. I don't. When you don't have a lot of money, you don't go to a counselor. When you don't have a lot of money, I walked into the gym where your first class is free, and I fell in love, bro. It was kickboxing. I fell in love with it, and Conan, he hooked me up, and I met Matt Grice there, who used to fight in the UFC, former
Mm-hmm.
UFC Matt Grice, and from there, I just kept it going. I just tried to hustle up money to afford memberships, so I can keep training, and it's just working jobs, different jobs in and out, and I've had career jobs. I was a CNA, and I trained Taekwondo while I was a CNA and kickboxing, with Grandmaster Juan here in Oklahoma. Uh, and I really got good at my kicks, but my wrestling was horrible because I didn't wrestle like I should have. I didn't make weight, and I had to step up and wrestle 171 guys who were cutting down. So it was a pretty rough wrestling career for me. But I met my coach Kendrick Coleman, AMA, which is my home gym, and it's where I met the Dennis brothers and a lot of other guys that fought in Bellator and LFA. And from there, I learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I learned the art of Muay Thai, And by then, I felt like my mental was a lot better, but at the same time, I didn't have a relationship when I met my home gym AMA, and so she didn't love what I did. So there was a lot of mental problems, dealing with that, dealing with the struggle. So, like I said, it was a discipline thing, in my early career, but when it came time, every time it came time to fight, I always knew I had to fight the best and the top guy because of my discipline problem. And so that's why I done it, and I fought guys that, had numerous fights before me. I fought a guy that had 13 fights and I only had two, and I ended up winning. And, it was all heart, and I knew I had the heart, and I saw MMA guys started boxing, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Man, these guys can't box." I'm from the street. I'm poor. What I'm saying, I'm about to do this. So I started boxing, and my second fight, I knocked this dude out, man. Like it was crazy. Like it was what I was saying. It was just like keeping the simple basics, the one and the two. I was like, "What?" I listened to my coach. He told me to keep it simple. He told me to move my feet and keep the one or two. And so I fell in love with coach even more. And that knockout almost got me knockout of the year. I became the runner up. Nick Jones got it. And he's a heavyweight, and he really deserved it because he literally put the dude out of the ring. It was crazy. But, since then, I fell in love with boxing. So, I was on this I'm an MMA fighter. I shouldn't have stuck with the boxing, but that's who the promoters were calling me more, and so I felt like the promoters around here felt like I was a boxer. I'm not an MMA fighter, and they saw what I did to a top prospect JR who fought on the Dana White Contender Series and knocked him out. They were like, man, maybe this guy, maybe they're scared of me or something, but. I fought Eddie Brown, who was a collegiate wrestler, and those are the guys that beat me, or the Division I collegiate wrestlers. Oklahoma's known for wrestling here. And I had a really long Emmy career, really. So I fought 7 Emmy MMA fights, and I had just traveled all around Oklahoma for those. But boxing, I had to go to New York and I had to go to Florida, and I had calls in Texas. I didn't have a lot of boxing fights here, but 2 or 3 of them here. And right now, it's just still staying on the grind. I want to get in MMA because that's what I fell in love with. I fell in love with George St. Pierre, and I was training with Matt Grice, and back when they were doing the team fighting, I can't remember what that promotion was called when they had the team.
IFS?
Yes, IFS, And,
yeah, Savant Young was on that one.
Yeah,
Savant Young was on IFS for sure.
I remember sparring with guys and helping them get ready for that, and they take off and go and fight and stuff. I remember I was just a fan. I was a fan who was there doing it, the work, for my mental, and who was athletic enough and had the heart to step in the cage and step in the ring. And I fell in love with it, man. That's really, I was hoping it would pay off, I'm still and I haven't quit and I haven't gave up on it. But in reality, time's ticking, man. Time's ticking. But
Yeah, and I love that you said that. In terms of obviously time is ticking. Time is of the essence, right? Where
yeah,
you can't wait about in many cases, right? If you look at the NFL or whatever, especially a player that comes out of playing high school football or basketball, and then playing collegiate basketball or football and baseball and whatever, by the time that they hit the major league of whatever sport that they're playing in, 30 is kind of it. Like, you might have a 5-year window after that to play pro, right?
yeah,
Obviously there's exceptions to the rule. I mean, Tom Brady has been around forever and whatever, right? But I mean, you've got a 5-year window, right? Versus
yeah,
combat sports, if you could keep yourself healthy, you really reach your peak in your like early to mid 30s.
yeah. Yeah, I would say, but when you see guys like Yoel Romero is, almost in his 50s, it's like, why stop? Why stop doing something I love? You know what I'm saying? And I haven't really seriously been injured. I've had one acute concussion back in 2018 when I fought Villarreal. Villarreal. Sorry, I'm slaughtering the dude's name. But when I fought him in Brooklyn, New York. But yeah, man, if you love it, man, like if I stop fighting, I'm still gonna train. Like it's not, I'm still gonna end up sparring guys that come in from across the country or the state who wanted to get some work in, because we get that here in Oklahoma, and I'm still a fan. I still will be a fan, and I still will watch and I still will be a critic, just like everybody else. And that's what it's all about, man. It's about, keeping the fight going, You don't want it to die out. You don't want people to stop fighting. You don't want people to be quarantined and can't do anything. Why stop fighting, man? We've been fighting since Gladiator and way before then.
It's in our DNA.
It's in our DNA, man. Straight up. Straight up. And when
Yeah.
you stick to it and you become disciplined, you become crafted. And once you master that craft, and you can pass it on, man. That's what the ultimate goal would be, The ultimate goal would be, can I help somebody who's doing what I love and see that in that somebody and help them get where I couldn't go? Because now I'm plugged in. I know promoters, I'm like I said, I'm plugged in, I'm connected with other people, so I can get young fighters in the game. And it's right now it's all about putting in the work and helping them more than helping me, but staying healthy and fit. And if they call me, hey, I'm gonna answer the call.
Damn right. It's all about answering the call. And speaking of answering it, got our good friend Everett Osmer. Shout out to Everett for setting this up. But he's like, Travis, what's up? And then Jesse Velasquez says, yeah, depends on the person. Randy Couture fought at the top level while he was in his 40s. And Yoel Romero, of course. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, and he says you just got become a OG that beat up young dudes. That's all you have to do, And one of my favorite, probably my favorite mixed martial artists of all time, is Dan the Beast Severn. And he's a
Wow.
yeah, Dan the Beast Severn, right? Because I mean, I was a pro wrestling fan growing up. I mean, the NWA replica title there kind of says it. That we've got the California MMA Championship behind me too. So in between wrestling and MMA is where I'm at. And if Dan Severn hadn't come to the WWF and ragdoll Owen Hart, I don't think I would be doing anything in MMA now, because it was just like what I thought about the Harts, right? You had Brett and Owen. Brett was the champ. Owen was the high flyer, could do all the shit that Brett could do. And all of the, like, Stu Hart had 12 kids. All of the boys became wrestlers. All of the girls married wrestlers. Jim the Ambot Ironheart, British Bulldog, Brian Pillman trained there, yeah. So when for sure, dude, right? So when Dan Severn came, right, in my head, I was like, Brett's the champ. Owen is the high flyer that could do all the shit that Brett could, right? And their dad could literally choke out bears, right? He could football players, basketball players. They come to the dungeon in Calgary, and then that one time of the year when they had the Calgary Stampede in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Stu would wrestle the bear and choke the fuck out of a bear. And I was like, at that moment, as a kid, I didn't give a shit what Superman was doing. I didn't give a shit what anybody was doing. Superman, Ninja Turtles, whatever. I wanted to be the dude who choked out the fucking bear. That's it.
Exactly.
Right?
That's it.
So, right? So when you got Owen, he's in the ring and whatever, and Dan Severn comes out on, I think it was like Shotgun Saturday Night with 3 belts actually, that were non-WWF.
Yeah,
Exactly. Right?
I came out.
And he walks onto WWF TV. One of the belts were obviously the NWA title behind me, and then the 2 were the ultimate one night tournament championship and the heavyweight title, right? And I was just like, what is this? Like, I knew Vince McMahon was like, how in the hell are you going to let 3 belts that aren't yours onto your TV? And I was like, what? And then Jim Ross would be like, oh, he's an ultimate cage fighting champion. I was like, what is this UFC? And I begged my dad to fucking go to Hollywood Video, begged him to get this UFC tape, right? And the rest is history.
Yeah, man, that's really cool, man. And I really think they should encourage it. It's a money making thing to bring somebody from another organization on board. Whereas the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight, I mean, if I was Mayweather, and since I box a lot more professionally than I have in MMA, I would definitely step in the ring if I was him, dude. Like, why not? Like, you got a puncher's chance, man, and you got defense. Like, no one hits you, no one in rounds, like 3-minute rounds. Like, that's in 12 3-minute rounds. Like, it's crazy. I think he averaged 4 or maybe 3.8 hits per round. Like, getting hit 3 times per round, man, that's incredible. So yeah. Man, they got to do something like that, man. They got to.
Yeah. Well, Floyd is a strange one, because most people are like, they hate on the current Floyd Mayweather, or obviously his kind of discretions with the law, and they look at him and they're like, you're a bad dude, right? I can't speak to his personal life, but you're talking about a guy it's not even arguable. He is the highest paid combat sports athlete of all time, right?
All time. Yeah.
He's had a match at WrestleMania. He's beaten Conor McGregor in MMA at the top of his game, right? Obviously it was in boxing, but still. And then he goes over to fight Tashin at Risen last year, New Year's Eve, right? And beats the top kickboxer, right? At the top of his game. Now, of course, everybody can dispute it.
I don't know, man.
Anybody can dispute it. I'm not saying disputations are true, right? No, I know, right. But I'm just saying he competed in boxing, pro wrestling, right? WWE, WrestleMania, that's the pinnacle. Conor McGregor at his top, he goaded Conor into his realm, right? And then goes over to Ryzen and fights a boxing match, right? Against one of the top. So again, the fact that he's been able to transition into so many different fucking things, and all of the things that he's loved, right? I mean, the fact that Jesus, he was a knockout artist. He was a knockout artist in his younger days. And when he realized, hey, my defense is good, I don't even have to fucking knock people out anymore. But what I will do is I'm gonna fight Mexican boxers on Cinco de Mayo, because he's a pro wrestling fan. He's like, people are going to see me to get my ass whooped, and they're going to pay even more when I don't get my ass whooped. Yeah. Like, he's a fucking genius. He's a genius.
Yeah. You're right. But that Big Show fight was crazy. That was a little ridiculous too. It was almost as bad as the Yoel Romero fight versus my boy Adesanya. It was almost that bad.
Oh, what did you get? You just got to bring up Yoel and Adesanya. That was a shit show. That was
Hey,
absolutely a fucking shit show.
I had to compare, what it was.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now Jesse's asking, love Floyd's fighting style. He's the goat, but he's also kind of annoying. I kind of wanted Connor to beat him though, you know. So there's that, and yeah, so it's obviously everybody's got an opinion, especially nowadays, right?
Right.
And it's not withstanding, but you cannot deny what this gentleman has done, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
So there you go. But getting it back to you, brother. Everett wants to know, as of right now, August of 2020, what is your toughest fight thus far?
Whew. Um, Man, my fight in Brooklyn was probably my toughest fight because I felt like I was in the best shape for boxing at that time, and I was going for the kill shot, and he was going for the kill shot, and he landed his. And when you go for a kill shot and you miss, there are super consequences, man. And I paid the price, man. That was the toughest fight, because I knew it was ridiculous, man. It was early in the fight, man. It was, and it looked bad, because it was on live TV. I was repping my state, hardcore, bro. And man, I really that was my toughest fight, man. I took that one hard, man. That was my toughest fight. War wise, it was my knockout, man. That guy wanted to kill me. That was in Oklahoma City at the Remington, or not the Remington Casino, but yeah, the Remington Casino. That guy was trying to kill me, man. I'm sitting there dancing, trying to survive. And I got the knockout, because he was so aggressive, It was just a matter of timing it, I was like, I knew I was going to be able to catch him, I was going to catch an opening. I was going to see an opening, man. And when you're a martial artist and your center point, there's always going to be an opening, man, especially if someone's aggressive. They're always going to leave themselves open because they're swinging for the fences coming at you. And so as soon as your arm leaves your body, man, there's that opening. But yeah, that was my toughest brawl, man. Because yeah, he was trying to take me out for sure. And there was a lot of animosity before the fight, man. I don't know if you guys seen that. You guys gotta look it up on YouTube. But yeah, me and J.R. Cochran, man, we got into it like before the fight. He came after my throat, and I was trying to be professional, because we're professional boxers. There's kids there, there's no sense in that. And I made him pay for it, man. And it was a tough fight, because we both were angry with each other. We both had that animosity towards each other.
Damn, you got to send me the link when we're off, because I will post it with this. Like, yeah, dude, I want to see it for sure. And yeah. I love when anytime somebody goes into like not enemy territory, but like you come from out of state, out of city to fight the hometown guy, home state guy. Those are always intriguing. Because the entertainment level is just fucking, it goes through the roof, like completely through the roof.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
And Jesse's actually saying he wanted Connor to lose in the Mayweather deal. I actually wanted, yeah. I definitely want to get your take on it. But the Conor McGregor thing, I think when it's all said and done, I hope Conor gets the respect that he deserves, right? Much like Floyd, right? Because here's a guy who, within 5 years, literally was like a plumber's apprentice on welfare in Ireland, right?
Wow.
And his dad fires him and says, "Hey, you don't need to be doing this. This isn't your life. Go continue this MMA thing," right? He won 2 championships in Cage Warriors over there in the UK, right? And he was like, "You think that's something? Wait until I do that in the UFC." And literally, he does it in the UFC. He was the first person to have 2 simultaneous titles in 2 different weight divisions at the same time, right? Never been done before, right? He knocks out, and look at who he knocks out. Jose Aldo, who was previously undefeated, and Eddie Alvarez, former Bellator champion, the Underground King, in the first fight, the headlining the first fight in New York State, and the first fight at the Garden, the first MMA fight at the Madison Square Garden, right? And he knocks out Eddie Alvarez. He knocks out arguably two of the greatest of all time, right? And then he takes that, and he was already the highest paid mixed martial artist, goes over and fights Floyd, gets $100 million, right? Right?
Crazy.
Raise his profile, right? And invest that into whiskey. And his Proper 12 whiskey is selling, it's outselling Jameson in terms of Irish whiskey, a brand that has been around since the first people to come from Ireland to the States. 100-year-old company, 200-year-old company, right? And Conor McGregor, a fighter, his whiskey is on par with that. That's incredible. And every fighter should learn from Mayweather and Conor. You don't have to be the brash, whatever. I mean, like I said, that Severn, he never was a shit talker. He's one of my favorite mixed martial artists of all time. But what Dan Severn did, he did both wrestling, MMA, right? He was able to. I mean, he just retired just last year, right? So with that all being said, being able to capitalize what you are, who you are, what you are. You could be the quiet person, I hate to use this analogy, but it definitely fits. Chris Benoit in ECW, he couldn't fucking talk to save his life, right? So, he's a fucking tough guy, right? So Paul just got $1 bottle of baby powder and put it on his hands, right? So when the camera, whatever, it looked like smoke was coming off of his hands, right? And look, right? Obviously, the tragedy happened. He's an asshole. Fuck him. But that's an example of, getting your point across without even having to be that loud mouth or whatever. Bret Hart, he started with glasses because guess what? His eyes would dart in and out of place during the interview because he was nervous. So they were like, fuck, put on some shades. That became his gimmick, where he was fucking giving autograph shades to kids. That's it. You just never know. You never know what could help.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. But I've been doing. I felt like I said I've never had a sponsorship. I feel like I've been doing this journey on my own. So, I train. I started off training myself. Being a fan. I'm starting to think I'm needing to go to other gyms. To get my work in. I'm feeling like the guy that just fought with his girlfriend in his corner. But yeah, man. Right.
Mike Perry. Mike Perry,
yeah, Mike Perry. He did it. Congratulations, Mike Perry. You did a great job, my friend. Great job.
Yeah, man. Well, Everett wants to give you a shout out because he said Travis is the one who gave me my first mouthpiece, and momentum. Mementos from those hard fought fights, man. I've got like a fight banner here. Got a couple mouthpieces. Got even some wraps, cut off or whatever. Those are the spoils of war, man. Like you can't beat those.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt, man. I got a lot of those.
That's so dope. Connection with the audience, right? Then Jesse wanted to know how does animosity affect your performance? Do you think it helped you in that Orwell fight, or made you focus a little bit more?
Like I said, like early in my career, I had to go to kickboxing to try to help with my anger, the pain I was feeling. So it kind of brought me back to like my struggle, that animosity. And before, like, it was like Mike Perry. Fuck the bullshit training. I'm about to tear him up. That's what it came down to. And I'm not that type of guy. I'm a really nice dude. I like people to, be peaceful. I'm a peaceful guy, and that's me, and I felt, I had to be a little hood, for a moment. And that was the difference, and I didn't learn my craft by being hood. I learned my craft by being nice and respectful, and that's what I want to be, and that's who I am, really, genuinely.
No, that's it's crazy because we saw it again against uh, Chris Sunshine Leoconte versus AJ Arcegab on Bellator's pre show. I mean, there were videos coming about Mike Beltran. I mean, the hate was so real, right? That even after the fight, Mike Beltran with the fucking handlebar mustache had to fucking get them, like literally take them by the arm to fucking, like give each other respect. And fucking Azagram was still fucking shooting his shit. It is, but sometimes that can get you away from, the task at hand is to test your abilities, your
Yeah,
training, your game
yeah.
plan.
And like, if I'm angry, I'm not gonna be good at jujitsu, man. That's just real, man. If I'm angry, I'm not gonna be smart enough to set up a move to choke someone out, or set up a move to, do this sweep to get from, bottom position. If I'm angry, I'm gonna drain a lot of energy being angry. When you're flowing like water and you letting stuff affect you, you're gonna go with the thing that's affecting you, and that's what I need to be. That's the focus point. Not nervous, because I love it. So if I'm scared to fight somebody, I'm gonna be too nervous, and I'm gonna perform like crap. And everybody told me after I got my knockout, that I won because I was scared of the guy or whatever. I'm not scared of the guy, bro. I wasn't scared or intimidated by the guy. Somebody I used to train with at R1 with Matt Grice as our coach. I wasn't scared of that guy. I know who the guy was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not scared of any man. Only thing I fear is, my Lord and Savior. And that's real. And that's why I would step in the ring or the cage with anybody. And that's real. That's real stuff, man. I feel like I got the heart, and I put in the work, and I'm willing to die in the cage of the ring. That's why you sign that contract if anything happens.
No, agreed. Once you sign on the dotted line, you really can't lie. That's it. That's the unforshakable truth.
Yep, for sure, man.
Now, obviously, I mean, dude, I can't wait to see what everything comes out, especially now in this time. There's even more opportunities, for you
Yeah,
to kind of own your craft.
yeah, man, and that's how I'm taking it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so hungry, bro. After I lost to Werner Holyfield, I was so hungry, bro. Because I mean, the dude hit me. He got the 3 knockdown counts, but I was still standing after the fight. And in MMA, I wouldn't have been out the fight. You know what I'm saying? If you get knocked down in MMA, you got a fucking chance. Let's be real. And so I lost the fight, but I wasn't down and out. You know what I'm saying? And I was in great shape, and the opportunity of the lifetime on a beach to train in the sand. That was amazing. So I kept that, and I took that, and I'm fueling it for my training and to get it in here in Oklahoma, where we're still open. A lot of gyms are still open. A lot of fights are still happening, even in like the worst spot in the state, in Tulsa. And that's where our governor is proclaimed to got the positive result from, is in Tulsa. But yeah, man, we have fights here in Oklahoma on September 11th at the Farmers Market here in Oklahoma City. We have fights August 22nd, like I said, on Northwest 50th here in Oklahoma City. So, yeah, training is real here, man. We're getting it in. We're getting the spot. Like I said, I sparred today, and I did Muay Thai class today. So that's real. And I probably would have kept training, but I knew this was important for me and my career right now.
And that's it, dude. That's the things that are important in your career. That's first and foremost. Obviously, your family, and then your aspirations. Making sure that you're getting what you need done to perform the way you do. So I think this is a great time, but let's get some shout outs out of the way, obviously, bro, because I mean, you've been doing this a while, more than a while, right? So uh, who's helped you get to the dance, you know, both personally, professionally? Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
First and foremost, shout out to Kendrick Coleman. Big shout out to him. And Jesse Sinks. He's a promoter and a matchmaker here in Oklahoma. Kendrick Coleman, he is my coach at Academy of Martial Arts in Oklahoma City on the South Side. And shout out to my new coach, David Cummings. You know, he's helping me with my game. I think it's a little change. I've known him around, you know, because other guys train there, other guys that I train with train there, but I got connected with him. He's a little tweaking my little game, and I'm loving it. You know, I loved it today, and he was my coach while we were sparring today, and he was helping me, you know, tell me what I was doing that he saw and stuff. So, yeah, man, it's time to get it right now, bro. It's time to get it right now, bro.
Now, for those who haven't already followed the Treacherous One on social media and promoters as well, who might want to slide into those DMs and get you into fights, where can they get you on social media, my man?
Whew, man. I need you to hit me with that one more time, man. Hit me with can you hit me with that question one more time?
Where can they find you on social media?
All right. So on my IG, you can find me on Treacherous 187. Those are 1 numeral 87. You know, those aren't words spelled out. And then I don't know my Facebook, but I'm written down as Treacherous One Nero on Facebook. And yeah, man, holler at me, man. Don't Google me. Don't Google me because a lot of people talk bad about me. There's a lot of things out there, and I've had to fight them all, and I've won. So it is what it is, man. Look me up, man. I'm out there. You can even hit me up on Snapchat as Treacherous One. I'm on Snapchat, man, and yeah, man. I don't answer it everybody right off the top. So if you're somebody new trying to hit me up, man, you got to give me a time to hit you back up, man. Because sometimes I'm really busy training. I'm really busy trying to provide for my family.
Dang right. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the name of the game, is providing for your family the best way that you can, with all the while leaving your smart on your mark on the world in the most positive light that you can, you know. So, dude, I really appreciate you bringing you coming on. You've got an open invite. So anytime you want to talk, let's do this.
Yeah, man, no doubt, man. I really appreciate you having me, man.
Dude, the pleasure's all mine. But this has been According to Woods with the Treacherous One, Travis Nero, and we are out. Hey, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you guys for joining us. Bye.